Hello everybody, I'm Roxy and this is Wreck Me BS. So today I bring you a new sort of video that I'm trying out. Instead of doing wrap-ups and TBRs, which I never really follow up, I decided I'm going to do a highlights video every month to talk to you about the best and worst books that I read during the past month. Sometimes it's going to be one, sometimes two, it depends on what I read. And I'm also trying to recommend music and a film or a series that I am watching, because the name of the channel is Wreck Me BS, and I always thought I'd recommend more things than just books that I love recommending. But yeah, I always thought I'd make videos about music and movies, and I never got around to it because of time and life. If you want to check out the only time I recommended music, it was like 10 top K-pop bands that you should listen to, or albums. It was albums. Well, anyway, you are going to find this video here. Okay, so now let's get to it. Last month I participated in Nonfiction November quite actively the first 2 weeks, and then I kind of forgot about it because the end of semester kind of ran over me. But I read quite a few books. I changed a lot of what I was supposed to be reading. That's why I talked about the TBRs. But I read this book that encompassed all 4 challenges, and that's Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. I don't know if that's how his name is pronounced. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. It's a book about eating animals, about veganism, vegetarianism, about what are your options if you want to keep eating meat but you prefer to not support the system. It's about personal discovery, personal reasons why the author became a vegetarian, mixed with some personal narratives. I recently became a vegetarian, so this is like a new subject for me. It's also controversial, quite in fact. It's also important and fascinating for me, so it was one book that encompassed all the challenges, which was great. As a book, I gave it 3 out of 5. I liked it, but even when I was describing there was so much to it, and it's quite a short book. It's like 360 pages long, and it's a lot to encompass and reduct in just 360 pages, and it was too much in such a small book, so I think it could have used some focus and some direction, but still very informative. I think everyone should read it, whether they want to keep eating meat afterwards or they decide to become vegetarians. I think they need to inform themselves what they are putting in their bodies. A book I absolutely adored that I read was The Pleasure of Japanese Literature. This is a collection of 5 essays that were actually classes, I think, and he basically states the basics of Japanese literature. A lot of people didn't like this book because they said they were expecting more from it, coming from such an expert in Japanese literature and aesthetics. But that wasn't my case, because I was expecting an introduction, because it said on the back there was an introduction. But I think it does such a nice job of just going to the point and talking about the essence of Japanese literature, the true essence, that actually it makes you want to look more Japanese art and literature up. It has really nice references, it has really nice starting points, and at the end of the book there's a list of books that were cited. So it was just a really great read. It's simple, it's very Japanese, it's almost Japanese in its conception, because it talks about the essence without flourishing. It's just really, really good. I gave it 5 out of 5. Although you must know a lot of people found it rather basic and superficial, I thought it was the complete opposite. I think by being so simple and straight to the point, it was much more incisive than it would have been a dissertation, especially if you're looking for an introduction. So I definitely recommend this book if you are trying to get into Japanese art and especially literature. Now, a not so good read. I read On Murder, considered as one of the fine arts by Thomas de Quincey, and I didn't like it. This is supposed to be a satirical essay mocking Victorian era fascination with murder and how they studied it, and so it's supposed to be satirical, but it was not funny. and it was not what I expected either, that was like going to be very insightful and it was going to actually consider murder as one of the fine arts. So it was neither funny nor enlightening. I just thought it was kind of meh. It had some good passages, so that's why I gave it 2 instead of 1. But it's not finely written. I thought it was going to be better written than what it was, and that really threw me off because it's a Penguin classic. So I thought, oh my god, this is going to be amazing and blow my mind, either because of murder or the funny parts, but none of those things happened, and yeah, so I didn't like it. I started reading People's History of America, and it was a strange situation. I only got 100 pages into it. I'm going to continue reading it, but it's much more sociology than it's history, which is not how it was advertised, and that was disappointing for me. I was hoping for a book that was more timelined and very much like any history book, but told from another perspective with emphasis on other things, but it's much more about the method and about highlighting the bad stuff. I don't know, it wasn't what I was expecting, and so I had to put it down for a bit, because I really was expecting something that was more history oriented, and this was more sociology and culture oriented, which is not bad, but again, it's not what the book promised, and that is always disappointing, I find. So that's it for my highlight. Now that I'm in December, I expect to read White Oleander, which I actually finished already, and I am going to talk about it because it's so great, but not in this video. I need to finish a really famous Spanish book that I believe is translated to English, which is Martin Rivas, which is not a Spanish book, it's a book in Spanish, it's a Chilean book, sorry. Martin Rivas, which is a classic, and Lost Girl 2 by Alan Moore. I read 1 last year, I think, and I really enjoyed it, although it was not as good as I expected. It's still very enjoyable, and I already bought the 3 volumes, so I have to read them all. So that's it, what I'm hoping to read for December. Plus, I have a lot of books. I'm doing a sort of spring cleanup. It's spring here in Chile. And so I know I'm going to like rescue a lot of books from obscurity, and I'm going to see them, and I'm going to remember how badly I wanted to read them, and I'm going to start reading those instead. So this is what like I'm setting out to read, and then I'm probably reading a bunch of others. So I want to recommend you a series that has become very popular, but I have been watching and I'm obsessed with. It's Black Mirror. Particularly, I want to recommend you the first episode from the 3rd season. This is a series that focuses on different modern and future life problems, mostly linked to technology and how it affects our lives, and each episode, it's like a movie. It's all, they are not linked. It's I don't remember the word in English, I have it in Spanish. This always happens to me. Like autoconclusivo, like it's like a one-shot using fanfiction lingo, I'm sorry. Anyways, all the episodes I've seen so far, I've seen like 5, are so thrilling and chilling down to your bone marrow, and they are not graphic, they are not extremely shocking what they show. It's just the issues they deal with, the psychology behind them, how they deal with them. The cinematography is beautiful, the script are always amazing. You can pick any episode and start watching because they are not interrelated in any way. 3rd season has like 13 episodes, while the others the first one has 3 and the second one has 4. I personally recommend the first one I ever watched, which was the first one from the 3rd season, and it's about a world where all your personal rating, life rating, comes from a social app called Rate.me, and it's scary and thrilling, and oh my god, it really blows your mind. Please watch it, it's great. Finally, I want to recommend you an album that hasn't received much love, but it's One of One by Shiny. Here in Chile at least, Shiny was super popular like 4 years ago, and now it's not so much. But this album is so damn good. It has a very strong retro vibe. The song we're listening to right now is One of One, which is like the main song. They have a repackaged version, which is good, but it has some tracks that, while being good, break the tone of the album. I think One of One is just such a great, solid album from beginning to end, and it has these amazing retro sounds, very 80s. It has synth basses, and it's just, please listen to it, give it a shot. I'm going to leave the link to Spotify here and the link to the YouTube video so you can check it out. Yeah, I mean, international fans aren't paying much attention to SHINee anymore, which is a shame because they've released some pretty solid music. And they're not my favorite band, but this album just blew my mind away. So that's it. I hope you liked this new format. I'm going to be doing wrap-ups and TBRs combined now on my Spanish channel, so if you want to check that out, you can check it out here. It's just, I want to try new things. I want to be more active on BookTube, but I'm not going to be able to do that doing like regular videos like wrap-up TBRs every month, because I don't have the time, guys. I really don't have the time. So I think this format is very fun. I get to share more. My links are always down below. There's my Facebook page, my Goodreads accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, etc, etc. I hope you have a very nice week. I'm already on my summer break, so I'm very happy. I'm not relaxed though, because my dance Studios final gala is coming up. Anyways, see you next time. Apart from that, I also read a couple of great books, but they are in Spanish and only in Spanish, so I'm not going to mention them here again, although I did mention them in my TBR. You can find it here. If you're interested knowing about I think if you're interested in a follow-up for any other books that I mentioned on my Nonfiction November TBR, you can comment and I can answer that. I didn't read, as I said, many of those books, but I read most of them, so yeah.